What Katy Did by Susan Coolidge. Audio by Nazwa Fauzia. Chapter 1 The Little Cars. I was sitting in the meadows one day, not long ago, at a place where there was a small brook. It was a hot day. The sky was very blue, and white clouds, like great swans, went floating over it to and fro. Just opposite me was a clump of green rushes, with dark velvety spikes, and among them one single tall red cardinal flower which was bending over the brook as if to see its own beautiful face in the water. But the cardinal did not seem to be vain. The picture was so pretty that I sat a long time enjoying it. Suddenly, close to me, two small voices began to talk or to sing, for I couldn't tell exactly which it was. One voice was shrill, the other, which was a little deeper, sounded very positive and cross. They were evidently disputing about something, for they said the same words over and over again. These were the words: Katy did, Katy didn't, she didn't, she did, she didn't, didn't. I think they must have repeated them at least 100 times. I got up from my seat to see if I could find the speakers, and sure enough, there on one of the cattail bulrushes, I spied two tiny pale green creatures. Their eyes seemed to be weak, for they both wore black goggles. They had 6 legs apiece, two short ones, two not so short, and two very long. These last legs had joints like the springs to buggy tops, and as I watched, they began walking up to the rush, and then I saw that they moved exactly like an old-fashioned gig. In fact, if I hadn't been too big, I think I should have heard them creak as they went along. They didn't say anything as long as I was there, but the moment my back was turned, they began to quarrel again, and in the same old words: Katy did, Katy didn't, she didn't. As I walked home, I fell to thinking about another Katy, a Katy I once knew, who planned to do a great many wonderful things, and in the end did none of them. But something quite different, something she didn't like at all at first, but which on the whole was a great deal better than any of the things she had dreamed about. And as I thought, this little story grew in my head, and I resolved to write it down for you. I have done it, and in memory of my two little friends on the bulrush, I give it their name. Here it is, the story of what Katy did. Katie's name was Katy Carr. She lived in the town of Burnett, which wasn't a very big town, but was growing as fast as it knew how. The house she lived in stood on the edge of the town. It was a large square house, white with green blinds, and had a porch in front, over which roses and clematis made a thick bower. 4 tall locust trees shaded the gravel path which led to the front gate. On one side of the house was an orchard, on the other side were wood piles and barns, and an ice house. Behind was a kitchen garden sloping to the south, and behind that a pasture with a brook in it, and butternut trees, and 4 cows, 2 red ones, a yellow one with sharp horns tipped with tin, and a dear little white one named Daisy. There were 6 of the Carr children, 4 girls and 2 boys. Katy, the eldest, was 12 years old. Little Phil, the youngest, was 4, and the rest fitted in between. Dr. Carr, their papa, was a dear, kind, busy man who was away from home all day, and sometimes all night too, taking care of sick people. The children had not any mamma. She had died when Phil was a baby, 4 years before my story began. Katy could remember her pretty well. To the rest she was but a sad, sweet name spoken on Sunday and at prayer times, or when Papa was specially gentle and solemn. In place of this mamma, whom they recollected so dimly, there was Aunt Izzy, Papa's sister, who came to take care of them when Mama went away on that long journey from which for so many months the little ones kept hoping she might return. Aunt Izzy was a small woman, sharp faced and thin, rather old looking and very neat and particular about everything. She meant to be kind to the children, but they puzzled her much because they were not a bit like herself when she was a child. Aunt Izzy had been a gentle, tidy little thing who loved to sit as curly locks did, sewing long seams in the parlor and to have her head patted by older people and to be told that she was a good girl, whereas Katy tore her dress every day, hated sewing, and didn't care a button about being called good while Clover and Elsie sheered off like restless ponies when anyone tried to pat their heads. It was very perplexing to Aunt Izzy, and she found it quite hard to forgive the children for being so unaccountable and so little like the good boys and girls in Sunday school memoirs, who were the young people she liked best and understood most about. Then Dr. Carr was another person who worried her. He wished to have the children hardy and bold, and encouraged climbing rough places in spite of the bumps and rag clothes which resulted. In fact, there was just 1/2 hour of the day when Aunt Izzy was really satisfied about her charge. And that was the half hour before breakfast, when she had made a law that they were all to sit on their little chairs and learn the Bible verse for the day. At this time, she looked at them with pleased eyes. They were all so spick and span, with such nicely brushed jackets and such neatly combed hair. But the moment the bell rang, her comfort was over. From that time, they were what she called not fit to be seen. The neighbors pitied her very much. They used to count the 60 stiff white pantalette helacs hung out to dry every Monday morning and say to each other what a sight of washing those children made and what a chore it must be for poor Miss Carr to keep them so nice. But poor Miss Carr didn't think them at all nice. That was the worst of it. Clover, go upstairs and wash your hands. Dory, pick your head off the floor and hang it on the nail. Not that nail, the third nail from the corner. These were the kind of things Aunt Izzy was saying all day long. The children minded her pretty well, but they didn't exactly love her, I fear. They called her Aunt Izzy always, never Auntie. Boys and girls will know what that means. I want to show you the little cars, and I don't know what I could ever have a better chance than one day when 5 out of the 6 were perched on top of the ice house, like chickens on a roost. This ice house was one of their favorite places. It was only a low roof set over a hole in the ground, and as it stood in the middle of the side yard, it always seemed to the children that the shortest road to every place was up one of its slopes and down the other. They also liked to mount to the ridge pole and then, still keeping the sitting position, to let go and scrape slowly down over the warm shingles to the ground. It was bad for their shoes and trousers. Of course, but what of that? Shoes and trousers, and clothes generally, were Aunt affair. Theirs was to slide and enjoy themselves. Until here, the story of what Katy did. Thank you for listening.